Coping with grief, 11 things to remember when dealing with loss. Grief is a natural response to loss. It's the emotional suffering you feel when someone or something you love is taken away. Often, the pain of loss can feel overwhelming. You may experience all kinds of difficult and unexpected emotions, from shock or anger to disbelief, guilt, and profound sadness. The pain of grief can also disrupt your physical health, making it difficult to sleep, eat, or even think straight. These are normal reactions to loss, and the more significant the loss, the more intense your grief will be. Friends, coping with the loss of someone or something you love is one of life's biggest challenges. Whatever type of loss you've suffered, there's no right or wrong way to grieve, and there are healthy ways to cope, which in time can ease your sadness and help you come to terms with your loss, find new meaning, and eventually move on. Just remember, while emotions can be consuming, they are not permanent states, and when you're grieving, it's more important than ever to take care of yourself. The stress of a major loss can quickly deplete your energy and emotional reserves. Looking after your physical and emotional needs will help you get through this difficult time. So here are some insights into the grieving process and ideas to keep in mind when you feel overwhelmed dealing with loss. 1. Face your feelings. You can try to suppress your grief, but you can't avoid it forever. In order to heal, you have to acknowledge the pain. Trying to avoid feelings of sadness and loss only prolongs the grieving process. Unresolved grief can also lead to complications such as depression, anxiety, substance abuse, and health problems. 2. Remember, grief is hard and it is different for everyone. Accept that many people feel awkward when trying to comfort someone who's grieving. Grief can be a confusing, sometimes frightening emotion for many people, especially if they haven't experienced a similar loss themselves. They may feel unsure about how to comfort you and end up saying or doing the wrong things. But don't use that as an excuse to retreat into your shell and avoid social contact. If a friend or loved one reaches out to you, it's because they care, so let them in. 3. But also don't let anyone tell you how to feel. And don't tell yourself how to feel either. Your grief is your own, and no one else can tell you when it's time to move on or get over it. Let yourself feel whatever you feel without embarrassment or judgment. It's okay to be angry, to yell at the heavens, to cry or not to cry. It's also okay to laugh, to find moments of joy, and to let go when you're ready. The pain of grief itself is hard enough to tolerate. What can make it more challenging is when you or other people around you tell you what you should or shouldn't do. The emotions that accompany grief are all valid, and everyone comes to their loss experience with their own story, their own unique context and meaning. 4. You can handle it even when you feel like you can't. It's human nature to want to avoid painful experiences. When we lose someone important to us, we may feel like we won't be able to cope with the pain of grief. But we only learn about our capacity to handle things by moving through them, says Director of MSK's Bereavement Clinic. When we try to stifle or avoid our feelings, they can come on that much stronger when something triggers them. Making space to experience painful emotions allows us to practice our resilience and grow our own internal resources. 5. Express your feelings in a tangible or creative way. Even if you're not able to talk about your loss with others, it can help to write down your thoughts and feelings in a journal, or you could release your emotions by making a scrapbook or volunteering for a cause related to your loss. 6. Try to maintain your hobbies and interests. This comfort in routine and getting back to the activities that bring you joy and connecting closer with others can help you come to terms with your loss and aid the grieving process. 7. Plan ahead for grief triggers. Anniversaries, holidays, and important milestones can reawaken painful memories and feelings. Be prepared for an emotional wallop and know that it's completely normal. You can plan ahead by making sure that you're not alone, for example. 8. Look after your physical health. The mind and body are connected. When you feel healthy physically, you'll be able to better cope emotionally, and vice versa. Combat stress and fatigue by getting enough sleep, eating right, and exercising. Don't use alcohol or drugs to numb the pain of grief or lift your mood artificially. 9. Be gentle with yourself and seek out. The pain of grief can often cause you to want to withdraw from others and retreat into your shell. But having the face-to-face support of people is vital to healing from loss. Even if you're not comfortable talking about your feelings under normal circumstances, it's important to express them when you're grieving. At the same time, you don't have to every time talk about your loss when you interact with friends and family. Comfort can also come from just being around others who care about you. The key is not to isolate yourself, and often people want to help but just don't know how. So tell them what you need, whether it's a shoulder to cry on, a listening ear, or just someone to hang out with. If you don't feel you have someone, it's never too late to build new friendships, and especially with those going through the same. 10. You are not alone. Join a support group. Grief can feel very lonely, and even when you have loved ones around. Sharing your sorrow with others who have experienced similar losses can really help. Draw comfort from your faith. Spiritual activities that are meaningful to you, such as praying, meditating, or going to a church or temple, can offer solace. If you're questioning your faith in the wake of the loss, talk to a clergy member or others in your religious community. 11. Beware how you use social media. Social media can be useful in letting others know about your loss and reaching out for support. However, it can also attract internet trolls who post inappropriate, insensitive, or even abusive messages. To spare yourself additional pain and heartache at this time, you may want to limit your social media use to close groups rather than public postings that can be commented on by anyone. Friends, grieving is a highly individual experience, and there's no right or wrong way to grieve. How you grieve depends on many factors, including your personality, coping style, your life experiences, your faith, and how significant the loss was to you. Inevitably, the grieving process takes time. Healing happens gradually and slowly. It can't be forced or hurried, and there is no normal timetable for grieving. Some people start to feel better in weeks or months. For others, the grieving process is measured in years. Whatever your grief experience, it's important to be patient with yourself and allow the process to naturally unfold. If your grief feels like it's just too much to bear, find a mental health professional with experience in grief counseling. Talking to a therapist will help. An experienced therapist or grief counselor can help you work through intense emotions and overcome obstacles to your grieving.